She forgave him. Again, he lied to her face, manipulated her emotions, controlled her life, and somehow she ended up apologizing. And the worst part? We watched it. We defended it. Some of us even called it romantic. K-drama has been feeding us toxic male leads wrapped in expensive suits, tragic backstories, and attractive stares for years. And honestly, we fell for it every single time. But today, we're calling them out. These are the top 10 most toxic male leads in recent K-drama history, ranked from bad to absolutely emotionally dangerous. And trust me, when we get to number 1, you are either going to rage or completely rethink your favorite drama forever. So, grab your ramen, cancel the delusions, and let's expose these red flags one by one, starting with number 10. Starting us off at number 10 is a man who is literally a demon, which honestly feels a little too on the nose. Jong-won has spent 200 years exploiting desperate humans for personal gain. No empathy, no emotional attachment, no accountability, classic demon energy, and when he starts falling for he, his first instinct isn't vulnerability, it's possession. He's cold, arrogant, emotionally unavailable in the most aesthetically pleasing way possible. And Song Kang plays this role so effortlessly that people genuinely ignored the red flags because this man wore black coats and stared dramatically into the distance. Pretty privilege needs to be studied. What makes Goo-won toxic isn't the obvious stuff. It's the way control gets disguised as protection. The obsession becomes devotion. The possessiveness becomes romance. And suddenly the audience is kicking their feet watching emotional manipulation in 4K. At least this man has the excuse of being an actual demon, though, because the men higher on this list, completely human. Number 10. At number 9, we have the most dangerous kind of toxic man, the quiet one. Because Han Jung-won doesn't scream. He doesn't rage. He doesn't explode dramatically in the rain like your average K-drama man. No, he withholds emotion, truth, connection, and somehow that hurts even more. This man enters a contractual marriage and acts shocked when actual emotions start appearing. Sir, what exactly did you think marriage was? Gong Yoo plays him with this restrained intensity that makes everything feel subtle, controlled, calculated. And that is what makes him terrifying. Because quiet, toxic men are the hardest to recognize at first. They seem mature, stable, safe. Until one day you realize you've been emotionally starving the entire relationship. And honestly, that's why this drama worked so well. It forces you to sit inside emotional distance for 8 episodes straight. No explosions, no dramatic villain speeches. Just a man emotionally unavailable enough to make silence feel violent. Number 9. And somehow, we're only getting worse from here. Okay, before the lovely runner fandom attacks me, hear me out. Because I already know some of y'all are typing angry essays right now. Ryu Sun-jae is beloved. And honestly, I get it. Byeon Woo-seok had the entire internet emotionally collapsing over this man. The chemistry, insane. The cinematography, beautiful. The OST, emotionally devastating. But strip all of that away for a second. And look at what's actually happening. This is a man so consumed by his feelings that he literally bends time itself around them. He rewrites timelines, changes outcomes, makes decisions affecting her entire existence without her consent. And somehow the audience watched that and collectively said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, but if somebody starts altering reality because they can't process their emotions properly, I'm not calling that romance. I'm calling a therapist." And that is why this character is fascinating, because the toxicity was beautifully packaged. Soft lighting, sad music, slow motion eye contact, and suddenly obsession starts looking romantic. K-drama really said, what if emotional instability, but make it cinematic? And we all fell for it. Number 8. Y'all can fight me in the comments later. Now, this man, no aesthetic excuses, no emotional nuance, no tragic mystery, just garbage. Park Min-hwan is manipulative, cheating, emotionally abusive, lazy, self-centered, and somehow still had the confidence of a billionaire CEO. The audacity genuinely needs scientific research. What makes him terrifying is how realistic he feels. Every insult is subtle, every manipulation is strategic, every moment is designed to make Kang Ji-won feel small. And if you've ever dealt with somebody like this in real life, this drama becomes very uncomfortable to watch. Lee Yi-kyung played this role so well that audiences celebrated every single downfall like it was a national holiday, because Marry My Husband understood something important. Sometimes revenge isn't about violence. Sometimes it's just finally realizing you deserved better all along. And watching Ji-won slowly stop shrinking herself around this man, incredibly satisfying. Number 7, and somehow we still haven't reached the worst ones yet. At number 6, we have one of K-drama's oldest tricks. The rich, handsome man who treats everyone terribly but gets away with it because he smiles occasionally. And listen, Lee Jun-ho is very charming. But Gu-won spends a significant portion of this drama acting rude, dismissive, emotionally detached, and borderline insufferable, especially to Cheon Sarang. This man weaponized privilege like it was a personality trait. And the audience? Still simping. Because apparently, if a man is attractive enough, basic human decency becomes optional. If he looked average, this drama becomes a workplace HR complaint. Now, yes, he grows. Yes, the character development is satisfying. But let's not rewrite history here. Those first episodes? Absolutely not. And honestly, that's the genius of K-drama. They introduce red flags, then slowly emotionally condition us into calling it character development. Number 6, the top 5, emotionally catastrophic. We've officially entered the top 5, and now the toxicity gets quieter, more polished, more intelligent, more dangerous, because Choi Jae-jin doesn't look like a villain. He's successful, respected, calm, a doctor, a husband. The kind of man society immediately labels as safe. And honestly, that is what makes him terrifying, because some of the most damaging people you will ever meet don't arrive screaming. They arrive smiling. Jae-jin cheats on his wife, gaslights her, destroys the emotional foundation of his family, all while maintaining the image of the perfect man. And the scariest part? He genuinely believes he's justified. That calmness, that emotional control, that ability to manipulate without raising his voice, yeah, that's advanced toxicity. Bittersweet Hell did something brilliant here. It showed a woman who literally understands psychology completely miss the manipulation happening inside her own home. Because when emotional abuse is subtle enough, you don't notice it immediately. You just slowly become exhausted. Kim Nam-hee played this role with such controlled restraint that every scene felt uncomfortable in the best way. No dramatic yelling, no cartoon villain energy, just quiet destruction. Number 5, and trust me, the top 4 are somehow even worse. Number 4, and now we're entering criminal territory. Because Jeon Jae-jun is not just toxic. This man is evil. He bullied Moon Dong-eun so brutally in high school that the trauma followed her into adulthood, burning her, humiliating her, destroying her psychologically. And somehow, Park Sung-hoon still made people weirdly attracted to him. That man's charisma needs government regulation. Jae-jun grows up into the exact type of wealthy monster society keeps protecting. Arrogant, entitled, violently selfish. He uses money like armor, status like a weapon, and accountability? Absolutely non-existent. But here's where the writing gets scary. The drama occasionally gives him moments of softness. Tiny moments, human moments. And suddenly, the audience starts hesitating, like the dog scene. Y'all remember that scene. The entire internet thought this man was about to do something horrific. And he takes the dog to get groomed instead. One decent act. One! And suddenly people started questioning themselves. That's the danger of charismatic toxic men. They give you crumbs of humanity. And people start rewriting the entire story in their heads. And honestly, that happens in real life too. Number 4, the top 3, completely unhinged. Okay, breathe before this one, because I know people are going to fight me over this ranking. Baek-hyun-woo at number 3 sounds insane, like Okrickle, until you remember how this story actually starts. When we first meet him, this man is done with his marriage, emotionally checked out, disconnected, quietly counting down the days until divorce. And then Hong Hae-in gets diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor, and his first reaction? Relief. Yeah, let's not skip past that. This man was happy he wouldn't have to deal with divorce anymore because his wife was dying anyway. That is dark. Now, yes, he grows. Yes. The redemption arc is incredible. Yes, Kim Soo-hyun is so ridiculously charismatic that audiences forgave him almost immediately. But that's exactly what fascinates me about this drama, because K-drama has mastered the art of making attractive men emotionally devastating, then healing them just enough for us to forget the damage. And honestly, if Baek-hyun-woo looked average, people would have treated episode 1 very differently. The pretty privilege in K-drama is astronomical. But to be fair, his redemption arc genuinely earns itself. That final emotional payoff works because we saw how broken this marriage became in the beginning. Still, though, being relieved your spouse is dying? Absolutely insane behavior. Number 3. And somehow, the top 2 are even more dangerous. At number 2, we have a man so dangerously charismatic, the internet temporarily forgot he was literally poisoning people. Ryu Shio is a drug lord, a manipulator, a criminal hiding behind corporate elegance, and somehow, people still wanted him to get the girl. That is how powerful Byeon Woo-seok's performance was. This man smiles at you while destroying lives, speaks softly while flooding streets with synthetic drugs, looks emotionally wounded enough that audiences start trying to fix him. And listen, K-drama fans love a broken man, possibly too much, because the second a villain gets sad eyes and emotional trauma, people start saying, I can change him. No, you cannot. This man needed prison. What makes Ryu Shio terrifying is that his evil never feels exaggerated. He feels human, lonely, damaged, obsessive, emotionally unstable, and that realism makes him seductive in a very uncomfortable way. People genuinely mourn this man's ending. That is crazy when you actually think about what he did throughout the drama. But again, that's the power of charisma. One attractive, emotionally damaged villain, and suddenly, morality leaves the chat. Number 2, which means only one man could possibly be worse. And here we are, the number 1 most toxic male lead in recent K-drama history. A man who looked like a second lead, but moved like a horror villain. Yoon Sung is terrifying because he understands emotional vulnerability better than anyone else on this list, and he weaponizes it. He manipulates a woman suffering from a brain tumor, uses her memory loss against her, slowly isolates her emotionally, makes her question her own reality. And the scariest part? He presents all of it as love. That is real manipulation, not dramatic yelling, not aggressive threats, control disguised as care. And honestly, those are the most dangerous people in real life too. The ones who don't look dangerous, the ones who seem supportive, patient, understanding. Until suddenly, you realize every interaction was calculated from the beginning. Yoon Sung wasn't obsessed with love. He was obsessed with possession. And Park Sung-hoon played this role so well that viewers genuinely hated him in real life. His social media got flooded. People sent hate messages. Some viewers literally couldn't separate the actor from the character. That's how convincing this performance was. No redemption arc, no emotional healing, no hidden softness waiting underneath. Just a man willing to destroy absolutely everything if he couldn't have what he wanted. And honestly, it was never even close. number 1. So there you have it. 10 men, 10 different flavors of emotional damage, and somehow K-drama still convinced us to fall in love with every single one of them. And maybe that's the real genius of these dramas, because toxicity is almost never introduced as toxicity. It's introduced as passion, intensity, protection, fate, until one day you realize the red flags were there the entire time. And honestly, K-drama may have accidentally trained an entire generation to think emotional unavailability becomes romantic if the man is attractive enough, which is slightly concerning, but also very entertaining. Now, I need to know, which male lead do you think should have made this list? And which one are you still defending, no matter how toxic they were? Drop it in the comments, because I already know this ranking is about to start a war. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And remember, just because he looks good in slow motion does not mean he's emotionally stable.